Very good. Your resolution is high quality today.
Oh, good. Yeah, you never know out here in the country. Still waiting on Starlink. There's some beta testing in the area, and I'm on the list. But if you look at the Starlink map, you see so many satellites above my house. So I'm hopeful that we're gonna have even better internet
Hopefully, one of them will start beaming internet to you
someday.
All right.
A great cost.
True. I mean, it is coming from a space satellite, so that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll give people a second here to join. Oh, there's Jacqueline. Hello.
So we're really out there. We're really live. Jacqueline,
yeah, you never know, right?
I'm gonna feature your comment, show off our technology. Hello from Jacqueline. And
I should put my glasses on.
Okay, hello from Danielle.
Oh my goodness, my glasses are.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, well, it's only a few people so far, but I think we should start because if anyone has questions, that can take a while to respond. So Jacqueline or Danielle, you're first. If you do have any questions, this is a good time to ask. Hi, Sarah. And if you don't, then we have
some filler questions.
We definitely have questions from people that they've submitted.
We wanted to prioritize the people who took the time to show up live. Hello to you all. Yep. Oh yeah.
From Denmark. Hi.
What time is it in Denmark?
Afternoon, right? Or early evening? 9 hours ahead, right? Okay. So 6 p.m. I'm gonna say. I'm guessing it's 6 p.m.
Oh right, it's the Australians who really got screwed with this time, right?
Yeah.
Ah, but
next day, but well, good day.
Good day. That sounds like from down under.
It does. If so, it's very early in the day. Oh, Italy. Oh my goodness. Danielle's from Italy. Wow, okay. This is very international.
You were right. Early evening.
Brazil? South Africa. Wow. Okay, this is great. We've got people from all over. Is
all right, well, until we hear a question from you, maybe we'll pull one out of our back pocket. We got one on Facebook that I was very interested to discuss about potty training, taking your pup to their potty, and the pup goes pee, and then the owner knows based on schedule and when they ate that the puppy probably needs to go poop, but the puppy doesn't want to stay in the potty. They want to get out immediately. They start barking, and the owner was asking, "What do? I don't want to reinforce the barking." But I know they need to poop. So what do you think, Kelly?
It's a really good question, and it's a very common issue. When you're trying to get them to learn the relevance of eliminating in front of you, there's this little gray zone because, yes, you have to reinforce a pee, even though sometimes there's also poop to come. And if you watch the Essential Puppy Training course, which we just launched, I think we have a few moments where I thought Eve might poop, and then she acted a certain level of disinterested, and we gave up on that because you won't know initially, especially if it's a new baby and their body is changing, or you have a new relationship with your adult dog, and so once I'm not a fan of really strict schedules. I like loose schedules so that the dogs don't become so anticipatory that it can cause stress later, because everyone needs a little flexibility in their lives. But your dog will biologically have some sort of schedule, and you'll know, for instance, first thing in the morning, you're going to get a pee and a poop. So that's a good time to really watch for intention cues and to be a little more insistent. Midday, you don't know, are they going to poop? Are they not going to poop? It's hard to say, no, I know you have to poop, when maybe they don't. But first thing in the morning is a great time to really start adding kind of secondary cues. So, you could have two cues. You could have a pee cue and a poop cue. Mm-hmm. You can get really fancy, and or a general go potty cue. So you can have 3 different ones if you want. And with one of my dogs that I did not raise from puppyhood, MJ, who I got when she was about 5 months, she had a pee cue and a poop cue, and so you could reward the pee.
What were those cues? Just out of curiosity.
Her pee cue is take a break.
I love the euphemism.
And her poop cue, it was, I think, just go poop, actually.
Okay,
Again,
no
I did not do
euphemism.
this. Very specific. In my house, I have a general hurry up that I kind of sing to them, and that's probably what I used on the video. I don't remember. Maybe I said go potty in the video, per your direction. But hurry up, kind of sing song until, because they start pacing and sniffing. And it becomes also conditioned, it conditions them to go in the long run. But MJ, to this day, same dog, not a puppy anymore. She's 15, 16 months now. 15 months. We hold her ball. We don't even use food. We hold her ball. And we get the pee, and I'll praise the pee. Good girl. Give her a little pet. Maybe one ball toss even. Or sometimes I will pull out a little bit of liver or ziwi or something, freeze-dried something, as a little reward for that. Because for her, the highest value reward is the toy, not the food. And then I take the ball back, or if I didn't give it to her, if I just gave her a food reward, we go, okay, great job. Now, I don't say take a poop with her. I've just changed it to hurry up. Hurry up. Come on, keep going. Hurry up. And I'll be insistent for 30 seconds to a minute, depending on the time of day and the dog. In this case, with her, it's pretty clear. She has some pretty clear signals that she needs to go. Can include looking at their butt, actually. Her tail is up and she literally, her butthole is protruding. She needs to go. It's obvious, but sometimes they're too busy. The puppies and high energy breeds are like,
the most deliberate of intention signals, the protruding butthole.
The protruding butthole. Sometimes with, it's about to go, but they still don't want to go, like little kids. Sometimes they're too busy and it takes too long. So the fun just doesn't begin until they're empty, or you give a little bit of fun and then you go back to the, the cueing. But no pun intended. However, you do need to start learning your puppy's pee and poop intention signals. So, an adult dog, for instance, one of my adult dogs will tell me, "Okay, I heard you. I gave it a college try. I don't have to go." And then you need to let it go. If you're unsure while you're learning this and while they're developing, they go back in the crate. I have, it's like, okay, I think you really have to poop still. Let's put you away with the chew or maybe a little snack rolling around toy that's going to get everything going. And we'll try again in 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the puppy.
But you always reward the pee, right? So you
yeah, absolutely. We still
praise
reward the
and
pee.
give some food treats.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, go wee wee. Oh, okay, that's a good one too. There was.
Did you see this
I was
one,
once.
Kelly?
I was once at a pub, and it was a beautiful sunny day. Everyone was outside and loud, picnicking on the lawn with their pints, and the man with his Weimaraner, who was also a grown man of a dog, and he kept saying, "Be busy, be busy, come on, be busy," and it just cracked me up. And I don't know, it was funny. But so think about, the point there is, think about the cue that you choose, because you're going to be saying it a lot, often in public. So let's see what else do we have here.
Does anyone out there in the audience have a question they want us to answer? Otherwise, we'll just carry on with the other questions we heard on Facebook the past few days.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for your lovely us. I see that you have enjoyed the puppy course, and Jamie, your course. I really enjoyed doing your course with little Daisy, Jamie. Being like a judge for a reality show or a talent show was really kind of fun, and watching you do the training was great.
I enjoyed that a lot too. Yeah, that was a fun dynamic.
We have a couple of Daisies. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
How do you persevere? Is that the one you're looking at?
How do you persevere through the early days of having a puppy where your patience is being tried and it seems as though things are just constantly going wrong? I think everyone's got their own coping strategies, but do you have any particular ones you go to, Kelly?
I'm laughing with you, Brad, not at you. I go through this a lot. You do, first of all, thank goodness they're cute and small. I mean, nature is no fool. Babies are cute for a reason. It's their pain in the butt. And, so early days, it's hard for several reasons. You're creating new routines for you and for your puppy. They need a lot of care frequently. And you don't have any kind of established routines yet. So often, I mean, here I've been doing this for 30 years now, and not counting my childhood puppies, and even with all the puppies that I've raised and trained for myself, for other people, for programs, fostering. Every time I bring a new puppy into my house, I go, what have I done? For at least the first 48 hours, sometimes longer, depending on the puppy, because it's disruptive to your routine. Even if you have other dogs, even if you have we've done this before. So what do? You break it down further. Probably you know that it's remind yourself this is a short period of time. Break anything that you're trying to do. If you're feeling like it's constantly going wrong, you might be moving too quickly, not breaking things down far enough. So, yeah, it's going wrong. The puppy's peeing here. Well, okay, problem solving hat. Why? How long has the puppy been out? Maybe in our program it says keep the puppy out for 15 to 20 minutes, but maybe your puppy needs only 10 minutes developmentally, or for whatever reason. It's short. It's usually a short-term problem. It's usually quite fixable if you go back a few steps or make pieces a little bit easier. I had something else to say on that that I wanted to say. Also, they're not blueprints. Not everything goes right. Jamie can probably attest to the fact that Eve was brilliant throughout the training videos. This course, she was a rock star. She hit everything almost perfectly, like to the point of astonishment. But we had one real glitch that doesn't show up on the course, not because we're hiding it, but because it didn't fit into the course outline the way it is, and maybe we can find a way to bring that out. But we didn't video any of the real problem that we had. But Jamie can attest to the fact that I was breaking down for a few days there, maybe even a week, I don't know, thinking, oh, it'll never work. This isn't going to work. She's ruined. And do you want to tell them a little bit about that, Jamie?
Yeah, right. We had a few days there where actually, what's so funny about this is this problem first started while Ian and Kelly were in the same house together. So we had our two puppy experts, and then Eve had a couple of house soiling mistakes in the crate. And
but she hadn't up to that point, right? She was doing well for the first, I'd say, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, she hadn't had
10 days
any house soiling mistakes anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple in the crate, and then that kind of snowballed, and it became very, like everyone knew. Kelly was very aware that could become a habit very quickly, and so it was it was a little worrying, but doubled down on the supervision and the going to the potty more frequently. There was a while there where it was not once every hour, it was once every 15 minutes because, we didn't want Eve to learn to pee in her crate and disregard that. So yes, even the greatest puppy trainers in the world sometimes, run into trouble and have to second guess themselves and such. But
I was distraught. I mean, there were a couple of days I came into the studio just like, totally really frustrated and almost in tears about it because she was doing the exact opposite of what A, she had been doing, and B, what was necessary. And I thought she's almost exclusively was exclusively in the crate, and I was distraught. But you take a few steps back. You look at we've got formulas, right? If this isn't working, what do? You make the time a little shorter. You make the crate a little smaller. You tether instead. We made it work out, and Eve is now almost 6 months old, just under, I think, by a week or two. And I'm happy to report that is long gone as a problem.
Which I would like to point out that when you were in your depths of greatest anxiety and fear about it, they're telling you, we're going to get through this in a few days, Kelly, and it's all going to be behind you. Stay strong, which I feel like brings me to a point for Brad's initial question about how do you persevere. I think if at all possible, it's really beneficial to have a support network of other humans helping you out. If you have other people in your household, obviously everyone should be helping out. But if you don't, and if you have any friends or family nearby, like get their help, get people to come by, because doing it alone, that's the hardest.
And a lot of people want to live vicariously through your puppy life. Like a lot of people want to help because it's fun for them if it's only occasionally. And there were moments when I would get to the studio already distraught and frustrated and just hand Eve to Jamie and say, "Can you potty her? I can't even potty her right now." And not that I was mad at her, but just frustrated and truly kind of distraught. Also, Brad, not only do you need to maybe break down the process a little more, but I would say if it's feeling overwhelming, well, there's two things that could be here. Your puppy could possibly need more downtime. Take breaks for yourself. Your puppy can have a chew in a crate or a pen. Puppies need a lot of sleep. They don't need to be out all the time. And yes, there's a checklist and it seems overwhelming, but it's possible to overdo it, definitely for yourself. And, they need to learn how to just settle and chill. And so you don't need to be there, be all, every time, all day, 24/7 on for them.
How about this one, Kelly? It's not quite training related, but I wonder if you have any insights. Do you have any tips for a general puppy first aid kit that you keep around?
Oh my goodness, that's out of my realm of medical expertise. I don't want to say anything wrong, but you need a thermometer, a safe rectal thermometer. You need to have, I would say, some sort of antihistamine. Benadryl is safe for puppies, from what I understand. So in case there's any kind of problems with that, something that would induce vomiting, but then you always still want to call a vet or a poison hotline before you induce vomiting, because if it's a physical object that is going down, you don't want to risk more damage by bringing it up. Only if they've ingested something edible, like they ate a mushroom, you might want to make them puke it up right away. If they ate a piece of, plastic, maybe not. There are different protocols for different things like that. So I have Pepto, I have hydrogen peroxide for both cleaning wounds and for vomiting. But always call. There are hotlines that you can call. Gauze, antiseptic, and but they sell some really nice kits online that are not too expensive. And I have one. I just had a ready-made kit in my car, and I added Benadryl and extra vet wrap, because you can never have too much of that stuff. The bandages that,
like duct tape for puppies.
It is, and it's just nice to have. And then hydrogen peroxide spray. I love that because you can spray it on the paws or wherever you need to, not in their face necessarily. And that's what we do. I see this question really briefly. I'm not going to go deeply into this, but a 1-year-old cattle dog that's chasing a kitten, that could be a problem. You've got a herding dog and a cat that likes to run. If it's a kitten in particular, they're very, very active. You do need to nip that in the bud, I would say, by supervision and separation until the kitty gets a little older, and to avoid that becoming a habit. So long lines when they're together, a room where the kitten can escape to with a gate that the dog can't get through, whether you add a little space at the bottom or it's just high enough that the dog won't jump, but the kitten can with a step from the shelf. Separation, downtime together, work on your dog, doing a place command and a recall with a line on, in the presence of the kitten. But kittens aren't going to be very responsible for their behavior. Cats are barely responsible for their behavior when they're adults. So kittens are chaotic and fun, but will definitely run and entice chasing, and that could become a predatory issue. So especially with a herdy, kind of a harder herdy breed. So do be careful there and practice.
A 1-year-old is a 1-year-old's pretty much an adolescent, right? At this point, do you have any tips for kind of like preventatively, if you have a cat in the home or a kitten and you're bringing home a new puppy?
It's still the same thing. Puppies, if you have a cat in the home already, an adult cat, and you get a puppy, your cat's probably going to take care of that problem on their own. But you have to be careful, because a cat can hurt a puppy. I've had cats damage puppies' eyes. So you again, still supervision and management. I wouldn't just let them go willy-nilly. It's easier to have a puppy after you have an adult cat, or to have them raised together. But honestly, we have to also just acknowledge that there are breed tendencies, breed type tendencies, and terriers and herding types and Nordic type breeds are most likely to become predatory chasers. And depending on the kind of cat you have, some cats are really slow and mellow and cool, and others are zippy, 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 especially kittens. You may have to be careful. That's not aggression. That's just nature kicking in, the alligator brain kicking in. So lots of classical conditioning for calm times together, lots of management up front so that it doesn't become a habit, and then hopefully they just eventually even out. Okay.
All right, we just brought home a puppy, and me and my partner are home most of the day. What's the best way to prepare for separation anxiety when you work from home? That seems like a very relevant question right now when a lot of people are working from home.
Super relevant. Yes, your puppy, thank you for asking that. And this is not just puppies. This is actually even adult dogs, I would say, for anyone listening out there, even if you've had your dog for 5 years, but now you've been home for 2, mostly home for 2, due to, new work, circumstances and the pandemic and such. It's important that your dog still learns alone time skills. I just had a bunch of client dogs for the first time in 2 years, many that I've had for their entire lifetime over the holidays. And with all but the oldest, most solid, they were all a little stressed with change at this point because nothing has changed for them for 2 years. They haven't left their house, their family. These are dogs that know me and that I've worked with, and they were still kind of like, oh, this is different. It's different. It's been too long that it was the same, with no variation. So making a point of teaching your dog to settle alone, and definitely any puppies to settle alone. And by alone, I mean, separated from you, sometimes only on their bed or with a crate in your office, other times in another room away from you. Absolutely make it a point to not take your puppy everywhere, no matter how much they're a part of your life, no matter whether they're, a service dog or you just have a really flexible lifestyle or you don't go anywhere. That's unfair to a dog. They need to have that ability because life throws curveballs. There's always that wedding or that funeral that, or hospitalization for the owner. Something happens where suddenly your whole support group, your usual suspects that are always home, aren't home anymore. And usually it happens when the dog is now a little older, or sometimes even elderly, and they're not prepared. So definitely some crate time or pen time out of physical range, visual range, earshot if you can do it. Take walks, a couple times a week without your dog. Go on drives, specifically just little errands. Make sure that it's a regular thing, and make sure that you give your puppy something super tasty and fun to chew on that's safe, like a Kong or something when you go. And I have special, alone time treats that they only get when they're alone, whether it's in their pen or a crate in another room or just chilling in another room. Sometimes chilling in another room without a crate or a pen is actually harder on them because they can be at the door and they're sniffing and they hear you and they're just kind of, why am I locked in this room? Whereas if you put them in their special area where they're chilling, they get it. They get it more. So definitely it's good that you're thinking about that. I love when our pets are included in our daily life and our routine, but they also have to know sometimes they stay behind, and that's okay, and that you come back. Keep the vision. Go ahead.
Just another little thing you can think about as part of the separation anxiety picture is the cues that let your dog know that you're leaving the house or that you might be leaving legitimately for a long time. So like your pup might know. You just walk out the door without anything, you're probably just taking the garbage out or something. You'll be back in a couple minutes. But if you put on your jacket and you get your car keys and you get your purse and all that, that might cue them like, oh, you're going to be gone for hours. And so you might want to play around with that and do all those, big cues, go outside just for a minute or two and come back in to kind of desensitize them to know that, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be gone for hours. And kind of the opposite, if you are going to go out for a little longer, try and slip out quietly without so many of those obvious cues to break those associations. Mm-hmm. But it's really great that you're thinking about that now. And right, if you take little steps now, your pup will be, able to handle it. No problem. They'll probably enjoy a little downtime with a favorite foodstuff chew toy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking at Marissa's question about dogs barking. If I understand this right, So your dogs, are your
That-
dogs barking at the dogs that are outside, or is it just the outside dogs that are barking? I'm not sure. Very little you can do about your neighbor's dogs barking, unfortunately, other than talking to them and trying to get them to just kindly talking to them and trying to get them to change their ways. If they're ranch dogs and they're outside, I have that next door to me right now. 2 dogs that stay outside all the time. I've just, tried to get my dogs to habituate to the noise by giving them projects at the times of day or evening when the noise mostly happens. That's a hard one, especially just quickly as a live here. I do have a friend that had a barking dog who lived next to her, and she started with a fishing line, not a fishing, like a rope or something. She would put a stuffed Kong over the fence and then reel it back in a couple times a day. And she did talk to her neighbor at some point about it, but she seriously did that because these people were not letting the dog in the house. And, technically that's allowed, whatever, but the dog wasn't getting enough enrichment. And I think she also brought over some Kongs that were stuffed and showed her how to do it. But ultimately she just did it herself for the neighbor's dog. You may or may not have a relationship with your neighbor. But if it is your dogs, you got to work on with shush and cue and habituation to the noises by directing your dogs to what you'd like them to do when they hear the noise. You can have the dogs barking next door become a cue to go settle or come to you. I know it's the middle of the night, it's a pain in the butt, but if you can work on this during the day, then hopefully that'll transfer over to the evening as well, that they just won't care as much. And if it is the neighbor's dog, talk to the neighbors. I know that are barking, and I don't know what else to say about that one.
We got a good puppy question from Leah. Says our puppy is super happy and excited, but also gets very distracted during training, having trouble getting him to respond to our voice, even in a completely empty space. How do we get our puppy to better respond or recognize our voice?
That's a good question. I don't fully understand whether when you say your voice, is that voice commands, voice cues, or is that just puppy, 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 come over to me? There's a big difference between saying, oh, my puppy doesn't sit when I say sit, which, that's a process, and that's something that we go over in the puppy course in detail. Our words are the least salient thing about us to a dog. Our movements, our proximity, the room, the context of the room are all much easier for them to kind of glom onto, adhere and focus on as context cues. And if we talk too much, it just is like that Far Side cartoon, blah 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 ginger, blah 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 ginger. So you may need to learn how to make your cues more distinctive and separate them out from chatter. I'm not saying you're a chatterbox. I don't know. That's one thing. If the puppy is distracted in a room on that's empty, squeaky toys or wiggling food or being more animated should absolutely work, unless the puppy is super stressed out, which I would think that's not the case. So I'm guessing that you're talking about voice cues, but let me know if that's not the case. And if it is that, then there is a full sequence that you can learn by watching the Essential Puppy course that helps dogs learn to respond to our voice cues, our verbal cues, versus our hand signals or intention cues or luring.
Yeah, that's on that note, we should probably mention that. We haven't mentioned it yet, that we've just released a all new puppy training course, an online on-demand course. It's on dunbaracademy.com. You see the link at the bottom of the stream. But this new Essential Puppy Training course has over 100 demo videos broken down into 5 developmental stages, where we teach everything from the house training skills, confidence building, the lure reward training. And as you point out, one of those important things is teaching your pup to listen to your voice and follow voice commands. But that's down in like stage 4, stage 5. When you're getting started, you're going to get your pup's attention with food treats and toys and, more like activity and social engagement. So getting your pup to listen to your voice is several steps down the road. But just wanted to make sure everyone knows the Essential Puppy Training course. You can get it now as part of the Top Dog Academy, which is our membership program for just $20 a month. So
I am
check
so
it out.
excited about this. So excited about that. I've wanted something like this for years, and for various reasons, we haven't been able to do it. And I'm really proud of what we did. And I think I'm definitely my worst critic. And if I think it's okay, I think it must be kind of good. You know, I think we've got some really good feedback so far.
Yeah, yesterday was a big day for us because we've been working on this for months, and then we told our Top Dog Academy members at the end of December about kind of early access. We've got the first 3 out of 5 stages up. I'm working on putting stage 4 up. In fact, as soon as I get off this live chat. But so some of our Top Dog Academy members have already seen it, and yesterday we started getting some feedback, and the reviews were glowing. And me and Kelly were both crying. We were so happy. It was like
it really made my year so far. Honestly, it's been the best start to a year, and that was, you know, we need reinforcement as well, and just good to hear that we're you know, people are enjoying it. Katarina, I thought you've got your dog going to the beds perfectly. I love that. Neighbors said they never even knew I had a dog home when they met him. See, that's brilliant. That means you're on the right track. You know, teaching your dog not to bark and to go settle, and so that people don't even know you're going to have a dog, especially if you live in an urban environment or with, you know, people close by. Marissa, as far as the dogs on the property, that sounds like it's a bummer. But it sounds like you could stuff Kongs for them because they come right under your window. And I don't know, start feeding the neighbors' dogs and training them. You can't have your own, but you can train the dogs in the environment.
I would suggest you check in with the neighbor first. I mean, the skill that you really want to teach them though is woof and shush, right? You want to teach them shush and go home. Those are the pertinent skills.
Also, Leah, with your distracted puppy, I'm wondering if you're not doing too much for too long. Humans tend to lump things together and do giant chunks of training and add too many, you know, variables. So like if you're working on, let's say, your distracted puppy coming when called, you don't ask the puppy to come from across the room. You literally stand right at the puppy's bum and just say, puppy, and make a fast movement or lure the puppy's nose around so that all you're getting is a quick U-turn, you know, or the attention of their head turning. Start there, mark the behavior at that point, because what is the first part of coming when called? Well, when do you need coming when called? Usually when the dog is away from you and often off leash, right? Whether it's in your house, your garden, or a park. So the first piece of a recall is actually just your dog attending to you. So start there and don't ask for then also turn around fully, also come 10 feet to me, also sit, or whatever it may be. Just, you know, puppy's name, or even, I wouldn't even use the name at first if you're not sure. Just, you know, in the universal puppy, come here, and happy voice, little clap. Puppy goes, what? Oh yes, look at you, you did it. And then, you know, back chain and backtrack from there.
Yeah, I think that's another common mistake that a lot of new puppy owners make, is trying to have training sessions that last too long and kind of grind the puppy into the ground when it's not developmentally appropriate. That, you know, these little babies, especially if you're doing something challenging like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, like that's a long training session, and then do something fun, do some settling, some handling, or back in the crate for a nap. You want to leave the puppies wanting more, especially when it comes to the lure reward training. You don't want to keep pushing them and keep trying to get, you know, the next level. There's plenty of time for that. Like, you don't need to hurry that. And I think a lot of people, and I felt the same way myself, where like, it's exciting to be improving your puppy skills. And it's so much fun to do that it's very tempting to be like, oh, we'll just do 5 more minutes, or
one more, yeah.
Right. And then that quickly turns into 20 minutes and your pup's tired and frustrated, and you're frustrated. And it's just, that's not how you want to end your session.
And repetition is good to a point. I mean, you need reps to put the reps in to get the good work and get it right. But you can do it to the point of it being, you know, boring. I mean, we already have to teach the relevance of most of what we're requesting, you know, to these puppies. Because why? If they can sit, why? I would rather go sniff. You know, you already have to teach them the relevance, and you can overdo that, right? Like it's not necessarily. And training should be fun, and and punchy and games and it should shine. But if you keep beating the same drum, it's going to get repetitive and monotonous. So short and sweet is better. And humans are terrible at that. It is always the just one more, or this is going so well, I'm going to go to the next level. No, let them win. I always say the reward at the end is sweet freedom, because even though training should be fun and something that you do together as as an enjoyable activity, we humans tend to get a little little stuck when we're training. Whereas if you just say free, okay, let's go play. Now your demeanor is different, and you can have a few minutes of playtime and rolling around without any kind of expectations of good behavior, and you probably will learn to enjoy the freedom. Cindy, you have a question about your pit bull not waiting to eat until the other dog finishes and starting to resource guard. I don't know the ages or the dynamic in the breed mixes there. I mean, the two dogs, are they the same age? Are they puppies? Are they adults? Is one growing up now and one's already an older established adult? Regardless, I would probably, this is just a short, quick answer. Obviously, maybe you would want to get help from a trainer. You really don't want your dog's resource guarding food bowls or anything around each other, and it's not something that you can tolerate, which means you have to manage it and then train them to be together. So I would say the first step is do not feed them together. And yes, you should take up the bowl because you should be feeding them out of chew toys. That's a whole other story. But in the meantime, I would separate them so that there's less stress and conflict around eating, no matter how you are feeding them, or do some hand feeding. And either you need to find a trainer that can help you with the resource guarding protocol. Do we have resource guarding protocols for existing problems on the Dunbar Academy? I don't.
Resource guarding is one of the things in the Behavior Problems Compendium.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So if you want to join the Top Dog Academy and check out the resource guarding section, the Behavior Problems Compendium.
Okay, so she just said that the pit bull is just turning a year old, and the GST is 5. So you might be having an adult shift in who thinks they're going to be in charge and the dynamic in the household, as the younger one is an up and coming adult. We've now got a young adult or late adolescent dog who might be feeling their oats, and maybe this has been building for a long time if they're eating next to each other or near each other. And your job is to diffuse that situation by managing it when you can't be there, and when you can be there, create some distance between their eating, make eating not feel like a competition by having them near each other, and maybe doing the delinquent waiter routine, which is definitely in the Dunbar Academy, isn't it? Do you explain that a little bit more?
Ooh, that's a good question. The delinquent waiter routine. It might be. I think there's a excerpt from one of the books describing it in the resource guarding section. But if so, generally speaking, we encourage people really to not use a food bowl if their dog has any sort of behavior problem that they're trying to resolve, because food can be such a useful tool for resolving most problems. So we generally encourage people to not use a food bowl. Feed food by hand during training actively, or put it into hollow chew toys,
or put it in the bowl.
Throw it in their crate or their pen.
I feed my dogs on. Cindy. One thing. I feed my dogs either in areas that I want them to continue to enjoy. So I either feed them in their crates or in kennels or outdoor pens, because I like to, even though they have a lot of freedom, most of them are adults. Well, actually, a lot of them are young adults right now. It's still a pain in the butt, but not always reliable. But I feed them in confinement areas where I want them to enjoy as part of the classical conditioning to continue to enjoy those things. Or I feed them, if I want to group feed, on their platforms. They all have beds, raised cot beds, like veranda beds or something, and they can eat on their platforms in each other's presence, but they know they can't leave their beds. And then you can take up the bowl in that case, or the toy, or whatever it may be. So now I understand the dog's not guarding towards you; it's guarding towards the other dog. But you have to set some boundaries and parameters around that. So everyone stay in their place, eat your food, don't worry about what the other one's doing. And I will manage that for you. This dog's not going to come over to you. You're not going to go over to them. And whether you do that with physical barriers or training on place. But you might need to add a little more space between them to find your dog's comfort level. And maybe this has been building since they were a puppy. And again, maybe they're feeling their oats and their age now. And I would manage that and nip that in the bud.
All right.
Where puppies are quick to learn, long repetitive sessions are boring to them. Yep, absolutely. And absolutely. Relationship building over obedience. 100%. I mean, you can have both. That is the beauty of it, right? A training shouldn't be dull and boring. It can be. There are sometimes you're working on duration for a stay, or like this mat training we just talked about. It's maybe not the most fun a puppy can have in their own little brains, but you can make it fun. But keeping it short and sweet is one way to do that. And by hand feeding and making meal times interactive with you and fun and prolonging them, because if they eat on their own, many of them are just going to eat, like that out of their bowl in 30 seconds flat. Not all, but many. If you're hand feeding, you're interacting. Now it's a 10-minute training session, and it should be fun. But absolutely, relationship. It's all about relationship. That's what I mean. You have nothing if you don't have that. Is it a good relationship or a bad relationship? Is up to you and how you train and how you interact with your dog. And being too pushy and too demanding is not the way to go. And also keep in mind, I always tell people, yes, again, repetition is the key to acquisition, but when you need something in the real world, you're only probably going to need it once in any given moment, right? So you're never going to, in the real world, need 20 recalls in a row. You're going to need one. And it's best that they have that one beautiful picture in their mind, and that coming when called is awesome, and it's not come when called again and again and again and again. So I like really short, punchy sessions where you're just weaving your training into the fabric of your daily life, and making training and play kind of completely intertwined. And
Yeah, when I was working with Daisy in the Puppy Next Door, our YouTube series, my favorite activity to do with her was teaching a sit stay using her love of tug, and going back and forth between her, like the wild fun play of tug, which she loved with all her heart, and then trying to get a 5-second sit stay. And you could see it was so much fun to watch, like seeing the impulse control build and the focus. And still to this day, the Daisy was my neighbor's dog, and I was working with her a lot for the course of a couple months. And then whenever I see her, if I pull out a tug toy, she sits. She knows, she's instantly like, oh, the game's on.
The game is on.
And so I think that like it's such a good example of blending what seems like a boring exercise, sit stay, with a fun activity. And then all of it becomes fun, and it all becomes the game.
And let the puppy think they're working you. I can make him pull out a tug toy. Look at this. I mean, Eve does that to this day. She'll, maybe we're not doing anything. Maybe she's just hanging out, but I move across the room or something, and she's like, this is an opportunity. And she'll run over in front of me, and she'll sit with attention, lie down. And it's them asking for the engagement and for the training and for the reinforcement or whatever it may be. And I think those are beautiful moments. So play with your puppies, spend time with them. Don't get caught up. I mean, we're trainers. We want your dog to be well behaved, but ultimately, training is really just a language. It's a tool for communication that will enhance your relationship. And you both got it. One of you speaks dog, one of you speaks human, and you need to find a third common language, which is usually what training should be. But it isn't your whole relationship. They're not robots, and you didn't get your dog just to march around in circles, which is not really what we do anyway here at the Dunbar Academy, or just to compete. You got your dog to live with you and hang out with you and play with you and be a part of your daily interactions in life. So you can't play enough, really. And play is a great reinforcement for the behaviors that you'd like to see more of, the obedience or whatever that may be, the manners cues. But it's also just a great reinforcement for relationship.
Oh. So I think on that note, we might wrap it up for today. But I think, Kelly, if you're still up for it, we're going to do this again tomorrow, 2 hours later in the day. So instead of 10 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to do noon Pacific time, and hopefully that'll work better for some other people. And
which is 8 p.m. GMT, I believe.
Okay. And
in Australia, I don't know, really, really early in the morning. That's what it is, but not as early as this.
And what we really want to hope is if any of you out there listening now have puppies or know other people with puppies, please let them know. Dunbar Academy is the place. The Essential Puppy course is the most comprehensive online puppy training course that is out there. We're super proud of this. And for just $20, you can check it out. And
how many videos did we make, Jamie? How many videos do we have?
I've just been saying more than 100 because it's actually like 170. I don't want to scare people off. But again, it's developmentally organized.
Short.
Yeah, they're all short. They're all short and bite-sized, and they're organized developmentally. So stage 1, there's 20 videos to get started, and then we build. In stage 2, there's more, and each one, each stage is focusing on the right things for where your puppy is. But yeah, I was a little worried that saying 170 videos. I think like 15 funny. Or 17 hours. I haven't actually added up all the hours of content, but there's a lot of content.
But that's funny because I knew that was close to 200 little video snippets. But when you started promoting, you said over 100 videos. I'm thinking that's not enough. We have a lot. We have more than 100. But I see your point now. You want to scare people. I thought it was more exciting that we had more. But,
right. I guess it depends.
Thank you for tuning in.
We'll figure out who the audience is. If they're overachievers, we'll say nearly 200. If they're people who seem kind of busy and overwhelmed, they'll be like, well, just the right number.
Just the right number. But again, I mean, we say that, and some of them are a little longer, but some of them are 30 seconds to a minute, 2 minutes, right? And then some of them are 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, they're all fun, and Eva's adorable.
We're going to be doing these Q&As, so tell your friends about these as well. The plan is to do a number of puppy-focused Q&As initially, but after a blitz of puppy until we've answered all the puppy questions, then we'll start, going to more general dog training. But,
thank you for joining us, everybody. It's so fun to see everybody from literally all over the world. I like that you told us where you're from, and thanks for tuning in.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay.